What's the church Scientology so afraid of?
This is SPTV.
Welcome, everyone. Hope you're having a fantastic, what is it, Wednesday? It doesn't feel like Wednesday. Does it feel like a Wednesday?
Oh, it feels like Wednesday to me, baby. This
I
is
guess
my
it
Saturday.
I guess it does to you. Hope everyone out there in the SP Nation's having a fantastic Wednesday. I'm chatting today, once again, with the one and only, the lovely Sterling Tompkins. Guys, if you're not already subscribed to Sterling over on YouTube, check him out, Sterling Tompkins. At Leaving Scientology, Loving Life. Okay, we're talking today about Lil Tommy Cruise and Johnny Travolta.
Yes.
What is it? You had some very specific things you wanted to talk about on this that I thought would be really interesting.
I thought it was interesting when watching a lot of content this last week on the tube. I think, like Tom gets a brunt of the, for lack of a better word, beatings from these YouTube channels. And some people probably just go, well, he deserves it because, they've seen his interviews, they've seen his couch jumping. He's an arrogant person. But from at least my point of view, and I think some of my peers would agree, it would be interesting to talk about why that is. And you do have these two uber celebrities. Arguably, Tom Cruise is a bigger celebrity than John Travolta. I think John Travolta, on an international basis, is far more appreciated and liked than Tom Cruise because he's not an arrogant ass. But I thought it'd be fun to cover. And I saw in the chat people were asking, what's the battle? No, there's no battle. As far as I know, those two individuals do not like each other. And I can understand why.
Like each other. Yeah.
I can understand why. I have personally met John Travolta, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Just a gentleman through and through, kind. Just you could just tell everything's there. Tom Cruise, I haven't met him. I've seen him from a distance, but if Dave's his best friend, then and I need to go by any other indicator to tell whether he's an idiot and an ass. That's what I have for it. But I just thought it'd be fun to talk about why Tom gets the brunt of it from the channels here, and so they understand from our perspectives, specifically Sea Org members, why that may be. And of course, I'm doing a series on stupid shit Tom Cruise says. And I did my video last week where we talked about his his famous romping line, how he would like to be out there vacationing and having a good time, but he just knows. And that's where he left it at, just that he knows, which was so absurd and stupid.
He didn't even finish that sentence. Huh?
No,
I think I must have filled it in my head when I heard it.
He just creeped everyone out by going, I know. What do you know?
No.
No, you're so funny when you watch that video. So again, that video, I'd mentioned that video offended me to no end. I was leaving the Sea Org, but still there. I went to that event at PAC in the tent outside, and I just walked out of that tent. I was livid. I was like, what did I just watch? Are you joking? But to delve right into it, so here's my opinion on that matter. You do have two uber celebrities, very wealthy people, similar in a lot of ways, and they're both aviation nuts. They love flying airplanes. Obviously, Tom Cruise is more of an action star. John Travolta is more of a character actor, if you want to call it that. They've both done movies that will forever live on in the ages. They are memorable classics. But the issue with Tom Cruise and why he gets a brunt of it is, unlike John Travolta, Tom Cruise is on the inside of Scientology and a little bit on the inside of the Sea Org. He had, based on reports I've heard, he's had inside conversations with Dave Miscavige, and Dave Miscavige at a meeting has threatened to have Tom Cruise come and straighten out some people if they don't get their act together. So this is a Sea Org member. Well, again, we argue that Dave Miscavige is a Sea Org member. This is a person that is in the Sea Org, apparently, that is threatening Sea Org members with having a Scientology celebrity come and straighten them out.
I feel like if I was a Sea Org member at the Int base and Miscavige threatened to have Lil Tommy Cruise come up and physically teach me a lesson, I would not be able to help but stifle. It'd be hard to stifle my laughter. Like, what? That's your threat? Tom Cruise is gonna come and beat me up? What?
It's like two girls having a slap fight. No, no, right? I mean, at the time, look, you're a bigger guy, and I'm not giant. I'm 5'9", 155 or something like that. I'm a fast runner, so I could get a last word in, and then no one's going to catch me after that. So I don't know if I would have fought Tom Cruise, I imagine you would have crushed Tom Cruise if that happened. But I wasn't at the base when that statement was made. But when I heard it, it bugged the shit out of me. And you just got to know that Tom, having daily conversations with David Miscavige, and this is based on the best knowledge I have on it from people who've known and worked with David Miscavige and Tom Cruise, is absurd. I mean, this guy's getting the inside detail on everything that's happening in the property. He knows about the mistreatment, but he chooses to ignore it and go on and living his life, pretending like he really cares about everyone. Now, he pushes that overboard with his very slow speeches at the I think the Directors Guild. And if you've ever seen him talk about saving Hollywood, it's kind of cringeworthy content.
What did you think? What did you think about the Directors Guild speech?
Oh my God. I thought Dave had shrunk himself to half his size and was inside Tom's brain, just running the operators. It was so cringy. I get that Top Gun helped the industry, and that's fantastic. But his speech was like, are you joking? I mean, talk about self-importance. And it was a little irritating to see all the shills just clap and be so happy with everything he's saying, and waited with bated breath on every word that came out of his mouth. But no, my opinion was that was, again, if you don't know about what he knows, you may go, okay, well, that's a nice thing to say, but that's the purpose of this video. We're talking about, you have to understand, Tom Cruise knows, he knows what's going on inside the Sea organization. He knows how David Miscavige treats staff members and Sea Org members. He knows about that. And to block that out and pretend that you're just a happy-go-lucky nice guy is insane. And I still don't get why Scientologists look up to Tom Cruise so much.
And keep me from going too far into the weeds on this, but I'm going to revisit something that to me is significant, regardless of how others might feel about it. When I was contacted by someone who worked for Odin Productions or whatever, Tom's production company is, and he said, he gave me the year. He said, this year we stopped sending gifts to Shelley Miscavige. And I said, if you're Tom Cruise and your best friend is David Miscavige, and you've been sending her birthday gifts and Christmas gifts for 15 years or whatever, and you stop sending her gifts, what could that mean? And again, you can rein me in when I go too far on this, but I go, I don't know quite how much private inside baseball David Miscavige shares with Tom on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis, right? I feel like I doubt David Miscavige is calling Tom Cruise and being like, oh, I'm pissed at Shelley today, right?
Right.
I feel like if Shelley was assigned to the decks or was doing lower conditions, I don't think Dave's sharing that info with Tom. So, but if they had gotten divorced, I feel like Dave would share that info with Tom.
Yeah.
And I'd said, the fact that Tom does not buy his best friend's wife birthday gifts or Christmas gifts anymore, could that mean like what would cause Tom Cruise to stop sending his best friend's wife gifts? To me, just my brain,
yeah,
it would only be if she was no longer your best friend's wife.
Right.
And that's all I want to say. So I'm only mentioning that because I believe Tom Cruise knows the truth about Shelley Miscavige.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're divorced or what, and I'm not even saying the truth has to be the fact that they're divorced. I'm saying whatever the truth is, Tom Cruise knows it. I think that's, do you think that's pretty fair to say?
Very fair to say. And I think it's interesting you made that point about, is he calling Tom every day and going, I found an apostrophe wrong in Dianetics, now I'm fixing that. I don't think Dave Miscavige, complete speculation, I don't think Dave Miscavige gives Tom's those details. I think he waits to have that big juicy thing. And let's just look at Dave Miscavige's track record. That's what he did at the base all the time. It wasn't Mark Yeager messed up on this, Mark Yeager messed up on that. It was when he wanted to tell everybody, it was, oh, hey, Mark Yeager has hated me since 1978, and he just has bad thoughts about me, and then he blows up the whole thing. He waits for the juiciest moments he can get and then announces those, or something that's so horrific that he wants to get a reaction out of everybody. And and Amy Scobie talks about that all the time, specifically with her. He just wants the super dirt. So I think in Shelley's case, Shelley may have been pissing off Dave for a year, but when we can only speculate, but I think Shelley's going in session. Something finally comes up and he's got his gotcha moment. And that gotcha moment, whether it's like Shelley didn't want me to survive, she was, putting, arsenic in my tea, whatever he may have imagined and came up in an interrogation. That's what he told Tom Cruise. Because whatever he told Tom Cruise had to be so bad that Tom could just wipe out any memory of Shelley and what she may have done and how she may have spoken and treated him, and completely erase that just because his best bud Dave said she did something horrific. And that's how he turns people.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Now I heard someone else say, oh, the way it works is David Miscavige's staff sends out basically gift requests on birthdays and holidays and Christmases. And all this means is Miscavige's staff stopped putting Shelley on the list or stopped requesting gifts for Shelley. And I go, wait, if I'm Tom Cruise, I'm not going to not buy my best friend's wife presents for 15 years because they forgot to ask. Have you heard the stories of Tom Cruise? He is intensely, overly generous with gifts. And okay, rein me in if I go too far on this. No, there was an anecdote in someone who worked with Tom on a movie, and Tom gave them his custom-made, beautiful pen, maybe some expensive Mont Blanc. And then the next day, whatever, Tom saw that he wasn't using the pen. He's like, what's the matter? You don't like the pen I got you? He's like, well, Tom, it's a beautiful pen. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to put that in the safe. And then he's like, oh, I want to give you something you're going to like. So like Tom cares whether you appreciate the gifts he got for you.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he stopped buying gifts for his best friend's wife because they forgot to put her name on a list.
No, that doesn't make sense. Maybe he'd stop buying. Maybe he'd forget to buy something for Lou if that was the case, but not Shelley, not the wife of the leader. Right. And this is his best friend. Absolutely not. That's absurd to even think that. No, he is overboard on gifts. He even brought Henry Cavill, who played Superman, great British actor, also did one of the Mission Impossible movies. And apparently Tom for Christmas sends him a shortcake or something like that. He tells a whole story about it, which to me, is very creepy.
Tom sends these coconut cream pies or something to every actor he's ever worked with every year.
Maybe that's where Scientology lawyers got the idea to bring fresh baked goods to CNN, I think, for the show. Do you remember that story about how they showed up with the like
Monique Muffins Yingling? Yeah.
No, we all saw the what's the People's Church documentary, Jim Jones. We all saw that. We're not eating that shit.
Right, that's right. Everyone's afraid to touch the muffins.
Yeah, which is hilarious. Anyways, so in case people are wondering, that is why Tom Cruise gets it from us. It's not just that he's a Scientologist. We don't care. We're not picking on Giovanni Ribisi. We're not picking on some of the other Scientologists because you know what? Tom Cruise is a victim to some degree, like everyone that's in Scientology, or at least in David Miscavige's orbit. But he has taken an active role, knows about the abuse, and also considers himself better than all Sea Org members, which is what I took a personal offense to when I was in the Sea organization. Because I don't care how much money you have, how famous you are. No one was putting in the same hours we were. We were the most dedicated. I can't imagine another individual, especially someone in Hollywood, going, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to give up everything. And I'm just going to put my entire life and work hard and get $50 a week and eat crap food and get no sleep. No one's going to do that. So to call that guy the most dedicated Scientologist, which he was also talking to Sea Org members, just so you know, it is absurd. And so that's why I take that personally. And the video has been seen, his whole IS video has been seen so many times, but I'm enjoying dissecting it down part by part. So the next part is going to be fun. I'm going to do that on Saturday morning.
Oh, are you doing videos on it? That's awesome.
Oh yeah, no, I'm doing a series on it. Stupid shit Tom Cruise says. I'm just like, yeah, why not? That's awesome. We go where our heart takes us on this particular stuff, right? You taught me that, Aaron. I appreciate that. So I'm figuring my groove, and that's one of them. I'm like, hey, of course, Dave too. Why Dave? Because he was nasty to me. He mistreated me. He mistreated my family members, my little sister. He mistreated my brother, Justin. And, even though I'm not related to him anymore, I was related to him in two different ways, if you can believe that. And so I have something to say about that. I lend some credibility to that because I am a family member, and, my mom worked with him for a long, long time. So he's also the head of the church. And I'm hoping that if we put pressure on people to look into, anything we say, on this that could possibly may help, and also may take some person under the radar and go, oh my God, I've never looked at Dave Miscavige that way. And that's their first step out the door, which we always hope for.
Yeah. Okay. When you said how much it offended you when David Miscavige in that event described Tom Cruise as the most dedicated Scientologist I know. And I remember the collective gasp in the audience was, oh my God. Let me ask you this. What did you think about the part of the event where they said, and Tom Cruise has introduced over 1 billion people of Earth to Scientology? I was like, what?
What? That's an interesting question. And I have to say this because I grew up in a cult. The numbers didn't mean much to me. So that particular statement went right over my head until much later when I realized he may have introduced 1 billion people to Scientology, but 50% of those people he introduced in a negative fashion, meaning what they heard about Scientology and saw Tom Cruise do was a negative reaction, not a positive, albeit still 500 million. It was negative. At that particular moment, that didn't even register to me. If you can believe it or not, that did not register to me at all.
Yeah.
Figure,
okay.
right?
And so let's talk about the difference between what Tom Cruise knows and what John Travolta knows and why there's such a difference.
Yeah. Okay. So good. My mom, Barbara, was the senior CS, the case supervisor, the person that monitored the technical processes of Scientology in the LA area. And that would be with the advanced organization in Los Angeles, which delivered the OT levels up to OT7. So she was actually John Travolta's case supervisor, and sometimes his counselor. She would audit him sometimes in the 80s. And so she knew him pretty well. And because of that, I bumped into him a couple times at AOLA and then once at Celebrity Center. And I'll tell my little story about John Travolta so that the story I'm telling you is coming from some personal experience. Before Celebrity Center was renovated, what is the pavilion now in the grounds and the parking lot used to be what was called the CEO. It was the Cadet Estates Organization, and it was where all the younger children from the ages of, I believe, like 7 down were kept for the Sea Org members in the Los Angeles area. So it was a flat 1-story building with a big playground in the back. And at the back of that building, there was a very steep grade driveway that went into the alleyway that runs behind Celebrity Center. And that was also the way that celebrities would come in, because you could come up the back, go up the stairs, and go right into the cafe. Well, my friends and I, from time to time, would be out back. We would take the trash cans, the Rubbermaid trash cans, the big ones, the gray ones, industrial. Yeah. They have little platforms you can put them on that have wheels on them. Well, you can take those platforms off. So we used to ride those down that steep grade. We would sit on them and just shoot down and then run back up the hill over and over again. And I remember one day we're going down there, and my friend, I forget who it was, but he gets into a speed wobble at the bottom of this thing, and he just eats shit at the bottom. Well, right as that happens, John Travolta, leaving session, I guess, at Celebrity Center, walks down the stairs, sees this happen. He stops. He walks over to the kid who's crying. He calms him down. He does what is called a contact assist with him, which, I think is complete BS. But at the time, of course, I believed in it. So I saw him do this, and I was like, wow, I'm just standing there watching this whole thing happen. And then John takes him back up the stairs. And about 10 minutes later, they come back, and this kid's got soda and ice cream in his arms, and he's loaded up. And I'm like, oh my God, like, that's the best thing I've ever seen. This kid gets hurt. He's bleeding. John Travolta stops in the middle of his day to help this kid out, spent at least 15 to 20 minutes with him, then takes him up to the cafe and gets him all these items, and the kid walks away. So he went from having a scratched up elbow to, being the most wealthy kid in the CEO with all that junk food. Nevertheless, for the next week straight, I sat there on my little bottom of the fridge waiting for John Travolta to come back, and I was going to fly down there and then wipe out. I was like, oh, I'm going to get that. That's awesome. What, are you kidding me? I'll take a scratch for that. But he's just, you see him. You can't help but go, that he's got a gentle soul, a kind person. And when I saw him do that, and again, he was a super celebrity at this point. You know, I can only imagine Tom Cruise would have probably just yelled at the person for getting in his way. But John Travolta took the time. Anyways, so my opinion of John Travolta is that he's genuinely a nice guy. I think he's stuck between a rock and a hard place a little bit because, as we know, has been reported, he's bisexual, which in Scientology is a sin. In the real world, who cares, right? And I can't even begin to understand how that must be a conflict for him in his life. But he is not an insider. He does this thing. He did do a horrible movie in Battlefield Earth, and you know he should be teased for that because there's no way you saw that and didn't think that was horrible. But he's a nice guy stuck between a rock and a hard place. I don't know if they hold something over him or not. What I do know from Mike Rinder is that Dave Miscavige does not like him. Dave Miscavige complains to Tom Cruise about him. And that's Dave Miscavige's whole personality. He's a bit of a prick, if we haven't made that clear so far. But he's a nice guy. I won't say anything about John Travolta. Does he support Scientology? Yeah, he does. But I can almost guarantee you he does not know how Dave Miscavige treats people. He only sees the good side of Dave Miscavige. But based on what you said yesterday, we don't know, too. If Priscilla's son said that Priscilla hated David Miscavige and thought he was, just didn't like him, I imagine that most people are that way about him, to be honest with you, except for a few.
And also what I thought was so interesting is that Navarone, Priscilla's son, reiterated what I'd heard before, but it was interesting to hear it come out of his mouth, that John Travolta and Spanky are the ones who got Priscilla Presley into Scientology.
Right.
And I had heard from many people that John Travolta and Lisa Marie Presley were about as close as two human beings can be.
Wow.
Truly, like soulmates. And for John to be there knowing that Lisa Marie left Scientology, low key, but very in a strong way, and that Priscilla has not been involved in, I'd have to double check what year it was that Lisa Marie had that little showdown with Dave's sisters, but it feels like it's been about 10 years. I don't know. I'm losing all track of time. So for him to know that Priscilla has left, that Lisa Marie has left, that Spanky has left, what in the world must John think about David Miscavige?
Right.
Yeah,
because you know what? He knows about some of that, right? Lisa Marie had to have spoken to John Travolta about things like this.
Oh, I know she did.
Yeah, if she's going to go to a camera and call out David Miscavige, she's going to have no qualms about going to John Travolta and mentioning it. And we don't really know, do we? We don't. John Travolta could just be, I'm not going to say anything bad, but I'm kind of done doing this. Because where does he go if he is bisexual? If that is actually 100% factual, he can't do his OT levels at that point. They're going to try to fix that.
I got an email from someone who gave me permission to do a video about their email, but I haven't gotten it yet. Yeah. Who, from personal firsthand experience, she does believe that John got onto OT7.
Interesting. Okay.
And yet, I feel like we'd know if he'd ever finished that. I feel like he's one of these guys who was just never, ever allowed to finish OT7.
Right.
Which might explain why, when Kelly was asked what John Travolta's case level was, she gave a weird answer. She was like, he's mid L10. L10's not a case level.
Interesting. That's right.
But if you say he's mid OT, if you say he's on OT7, then it sounds like it tells you right away he's off the bridge. What is he? He's been on OT7 for 30 years? Like, yeah. Anyway. So, but let's say he's on OT7. Let's say he's stuck on OT7. There's really nothing more for John to do in Scientology.
No, I mean, right. It's OT8, and then the rest of it, there's nothing that exists. And also, was it Kelly Preston who seemed to be a little bit more of a zealot? Was it her doing most of it? And then he's just kind of like, if it makes you happy, but I'm going to kind of pull away. We don't know, but I would be willing, if I was going to be a betting man on the subject, I'd be willing to bet he's just being quiet and he's doing his own thing. I don't think that guy's going in for regular sessions. I don't think he's getting auditing. I think if he has an issue, they'll send an auditor out to him as they usually do. I don't think he's really behind it. And he may truly believe. And a lot of people have had things about Scientology help them out. That's never been in question. There's theories and processes that may help certain people out. Scientology becomes a fraud, in my opinion, when you're talking about the special abilities, the OT levels, and then the alien stories that happen later on, which is a bait and switch, essentially. Up before that, well, some of it makes a little bit of sense to some people and can help from time to time.
Yeah.
And maybe
and
during
Sterling, do you agree that if John were to leave Scientology, he wouldn't say anything?
I would absolutely agree with that.
Look at Priscilla Presley. She hasn't said anything.
Nope.
In fact, about 6 or 7 years ago, her publicist came out and denied that she was out of Scientology. And I go, yeah, who cares what her publicist says? Publicists aren't in the truth-telling business.
No, they're not.
And she's never said a word. Riley's never said a word. Riley still has her Scientologist friends. I wonder if Priscilla has any Scientologist friends. But John is such a sweet guy that I could see him leaving and being even more reluctant to say anything about it than Priscilla has been.
Absolutely. And because too, if they're left, they get special treatment. Again, they all get special treatment. If John leaves, they're not going to cut him off from his daughter or his son. They're not going to try that stuff. They're going to let him go his way. And so that asks the question, well, why Leah? Why did Leah do it? Well, that's because Leah got messed with so much in the end because she was willing to question things she thought were not on policy and just rub people the wrong way on the way out. Bless her heart for doing that. She's got serious balls. And I think that's why they would make her life harder and harder. And then she decided to speak out. But like you say, no, I mean, they're not going to stop Priscilla from even talking to other Scientologists at this point. They're not going to poke the bear with a lot of these people. Hey, they've lost so many already. Like they can't afford to lose more people at this point. Right?
Yeah. Totally. I mean, I totally agree with that. And, I had something I was going to say. It totally slipped my mind. I've never heard any mention of John's kids being on course or being on auditor training or being at this org. Unlike Tom's kids, which you'll hear, Connor's here in Clearwater. He does some services. You hear about Isabella doing services in London. You don't hear anything about John's kids.
Right. You don't. And I mean, sometimes I feel sorry for Tom Cruise's kids. I really do. Can you imagine? Apparently he runs his household the same way Dave Miscavige runs the Sea Org. Can you imagine working for him?
Yeah.
I actually did know someone that worked for John Travolta in John Travolta's office. And they were having a conversation. I can't remember the name of the person. I do remember who told me the story, but I'm not going to mention their name. But one point, I think there was a job opening at Tom Cruise, and this person that had been working for John Travolta was offered a job, and he apparently went to another person in Travolta's organization and said, "Oh, I ain't working there. Oh, there's not a chance in hell I'm going to go work for Tom for more pay. There's no way I'm going over there." It is known inside the Scientology bubble that working for Tom Cruise is a nightmare. Yeah. Could you imagine? I mean, he probably still does meter checks on people at the end of the week.
Yes. You reminded me of what I was of the thought that it had escaped me.
Yeah.
The evidence that Leah had a completely different perspective on things than these other celebrities was that she was actually writing KRs on David Miscavige himself, which that's unthinkable to a Sea Org member. I'd be like, what? I mean, like she actually held L. Ron Hubbard higher in her mind than David Miscavige. And that wasn't true for me. For me, Miscavige was equal, if not higher, because if somebody wanted to bitch about some contradiction between Miscavige and Hubbard, I'd be like, which one of those two is not dead? Oh, good, Dave. Thank you. That's the end of the conversation. Okay.
But I understand now why you and Lee are friends. You're both KR writers. So.
Yes. And hey, the other thing you mentioned about working for Tom, that was another thing I was going to say is no one has ever worked for John Travolta and said anything negative about it.
Right.
I know many of the people who worked at the highest levels of Tom's production company. They were treated worse than the worst Sea Org member.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the only thing you can't really compare anything to the whole, but like as abusive as the Sea Org member could be treated, that's how Tom's senior staff are treated.
Yep.
You can't say that for John Travolta. Guy's just a sweetheart.
You cannot. You absolutely cannot. I mean, and just he's known. He's just anyway. I don't think I have to beat a dead horse with that one. But yeah, he is just known as being a gentleman and kind. And when that guy shows up places, the women go nuts, and I think he's just, he's very gracious. He doesn't do the Dave Miscavige, Tom Cruise handshake, the famous, like grab it with two hands and shake it, which I think they're actually, they're imagining strangling something when they do that. But yeah, absolutely. And I just saw in the chat, by the way, so I'm glad that someone mentioned that. The free labor from Tom Cruise is the other thing. That he's had Sea Org members go to his private residences and clean at those places. And he's also had Golden Air Productions crew set up a studio or set up his hangars for him. And then he had, obviously, JB worked on cars for him and stuff like that. So free Sea Org labor, which, how is that not a violation of some IRS statute, law, or whatever? How is that? How are they getting away with that? I hope that's something that comes into play when the IRS reviews Scientology's tax exempt status.
Yeah, I know. Miscavige wouldn't even legally be able to justify it by saying, well, Tom's donated millions of dollars to Scientology. And it's like, well, if it was a quid pro quo or not, because if it was quid pro quo, it's not tax deductible. Like,
right.
You can't give a charity money and then so they can give you services back and you can write it off. That's just not how it works.
Yeah. And maybe they justify it because maybe Tom Cruise footed the bill for the materials. But then, and of course, if Tom Cruise fitted the bill for materials and it was a 2-week project, in the end, it only cost the church, what, $3,000 because he pays so little. But I don't understand that. Maybe they just figured no one would ever know until JB came out with those photos. But
that's almost the definition of inurement.
Right.
Inurement. Yeah. He's personally enriching himself. He has this asset. He has this asset that has value that was given to him by the labor of religious volunteers. It's pretty wild. It is. It's shocking. And it, again, rubs me the wrong way, specifically with Tom Cruise. He, I don't know if there's any point, it's sad too, because he is going to go down. He's going to be more well known for being a horrible Scientologist than an actor, I think, when it's all said and done. I really do think so. And when the church does lose its tax exempt status, I'm going to be interested to see. And when Dave Miscavige is brought up on charges of obstruction of justice, I'm also going to be interested to see your videos on what Tom Cruise has to say about that. Like what's going to happen? What is he going to do at that point? Anyone would say, oh, you better just say, I knew nothing about that. I didn't know about these things, but he does. He does. Yeah. He really does. There's no way he doesn't. Yeah. And this, again, is coming from the biggest Tom Cruise fan in the 80s and 90s. I wanted to be a Navy pilot because I love Top Gun so much. It was my favorite movie growing up. So, yeah, anyway, yes, I'm definitely continuing my series, Aaron, on it's just called Stupid Shit Tom Cruise Says. That's apparently great. I could do videos for years because we have a lot of sources of that. When you look at how Scientology does put artists or celebrities on a pedestal, at least they say they do. They use L. Ron Hubbard's quotes to claim that they do, that artists are the communicators and that, they're the ones raising the tone level of the world and all this stuff. And when you see how they use the celebrities that they do get, or the Scientologists who do become celebrities, it does genuinely make me wonder why Tom Cruise has not used his platform to help raise the profile of other Scientologist actors. He never, ever has. And one person who at least did try to was John Travolta. John Travolta would put Tate Rupert in all of his movies. Now, Tate would end up getting edited out of most of them. Right. But John wasn't the editor, and he wasn't the director, and he wasn't the exec producer. But did it ever strike you as weird that there's all these Scientology actors that David Miscavige wished were more famous than they were, but Tom doesn't help bring that about? Have you ever wondered about that? I have actually wondered about that. And I actually used to wonder about it more with Danny Masterson before we knew about all the SA. I would see him in a movie every once in a while. Oh, well, for instance, didn't Travolta give Masterson the role in Face Off? That's right. Even Masterson got a role in a Travolta movie. Ironically, as a sexual abuser. Yeah. That's scary. That foresight for that movie. But yeah, no, I do wonder about that. I also don't know what it is like. I don't know, culturally speaking, in Hollywood, how that plays out. Like, for instance, in YouTube,
I think you're an exception to the rule. You tend to lift up a lot of the people around you, and you help them get started and stuff like that. And, I've spoken to a few people that have had YouTube channels for a long time, and they say that's just not normal, Sterling. You're kind of blessed that Aaron's done that for you and a lot of people. And I know that, and I appreciate it. I've said thank you a million times. But I wonder in Hollywood if that's an accepted action. I wonder if you don't do that for some reason, or if it's, I'd be interested if any Hollywood insiders know how that goes, because you also don't see that with a lot of other people, do you? You see Leonardo DiCaprio and who's the famous director that did he worked
Martin Scorsese. You see, they didn't have a relationship. All of a sudden, they built a relationship, and then they just started doing movies together. But the one guy who has throughout his entire career helped all of his friends.
Who's that?
Adam Sandler.
That's right. Good point.
And it's worked out very well for him.
Yes, that's totally right. That's right. And some of them are so well known for just being in Adam Sandler movies because they're like regulars. But hey, they're getting residuals on that.
If you ever watch the induction ceremony, or not induction, the awards presentation where Adam Sandler got the Mark Twain, prize for comedy or humor or whatever.
Yeah,
it was all of his friends he's known for 30 years, giving the most heartfelt speeches about how much Adam has helped them, but like in an unselfish way. And like Adam's whole approach to this thing is, what are you talking about? I do what I love, and I do what I love with the people that I love. I want you guys to be in this with me as much as you might want to be in it with me.
Yeah. So then maybe not. Maybe it is just character types. Of course, you have to be at a certain level, and as we know, Adam Sandler is a superstar. But it still does make you wonder a little bit, doesn't it? It does make you wonder what you could, that one or two actors that were at CC struggling all the time, your Tate Rupert, or even, you have to be talented too. I mean,
David O'Donnell, Jennifer Aspin. I mean, none of these people have talent, but
David O'Donnell had that dude could throw a football 60 yards, man. There you go. I just say that because he was on that. I did the film, the Dianetics film with him, where the guy got injured playing football and got spun. And he was the actor for that, not the stuntman, but the actor for that. And we played, the Ben Monahan story. He was there playing football with us that day.
That's right.
That dude, I couldn't believe. He wasn't a big guy, but he could throw the ball.
No, David O'Donnell's tiny.
Yeah, but dude, fucking guy that can.
Now he spends most of his time volunteering for the volunteer ministers.
You're joking. Oh, God. And that makes me sad, too.
Goes out to these disaster zones,
giving free massages and handing out booklets that say, don't kill people, like that wasn't the obvious thing already.
No, thank you. The free massages is only when John's there. All right, what the hell were we talking about?
I know we were talking about difference between John Travolta and Tom Cruise. And I thought of something that we're going to talk about later at some point, but I'll get back to that. I did a late night with Mitch last night at 10, I think 9 or 10 o'clock, by the way. And it was fun. I noticed that we're talking about some Scientology stuff. And the second we started talking about movies and books that were then turned into movies, the chat just fired up right away. So I'm thinking of doing a late night on Tuesdays with them, where we talk about some Scientology stuff and then just talk about the movies over the years, which ones we like, and get engaging the chat is actually quite entertaining. There's brilliant people in there. There's people, that are kind of smart, and there's some people that just have good comments or witty. So anyways, that's one thing.
Well, it's funny. I've been engaging with it less because people always comment how it looks like I'm never paying attention to my guest. But Reese, I don't know where Reese's camera is in relation to her computer or her chat, but she seems to have her chat like right in front of her. And I don't know how she does that. I'm going to have to ask, because she does almost nothing but engage with her chat. I
think she looks down a little bit, but I think the way she does it just seems so natural. I don't know. Yeah. Again, she's
hi, chat. I'm looking at you right now, chat. Hi.
but also, let's be clear. I'm aware that that's easy for Reese and myself to engage in that, because we're maybe having 400 or 500 people. You have 2,898 people in here right now. It's not, you could spend 2 hours just looking for things to engage people with. So let's be clear, at a certain level, that's no longer possible.
It's a little more challenging. Guys, if you're one of the 2,900 people watching right now, hit that like button, please. It actually helps out a lot.
But
so we got Tommy, we got little Tommy, we got Big Johnny, and John's a big guy.
yeah, apparently.
Like John's actually tall.
Yeah, I think he's like
I've always-
6'1", 6'2" or something, right?
Yeah, and sometimes he'll come when he's in Clearwater. He hangs out at the cigar bar I used to hang out at before I boycotted the place.
Okay.
Cigar Fusion down on North Clearwater Beach. John will drop in there every now and then. There's just something to be said. And I know I keep repeating myself. There's just something to be said for a guy who's been in the industry and worked with so many people for 30, 40 years, and everyone just loves the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone just loves the guy. And you can tell when people are talking about how much they love working with Tom Cruise, you can tell they're acting when they say it.
Yeah.
You can tell it's in their contract to say that. When they all go on the talk shows and tell these weird forced anecdotes about how crazy and funny Tom Cruise is, and you're like, dude, that did not happen. You had to make up that story.
But before Tom Cruise became the uber Scientologist that he is today, well, arguably that he was a couple of years ago, I question how involved he is now, but he was notorious for being the guy that would stop on the side of a street if there was an accident and help. And I don't mean to make a joke of this. Actually help out. I think he stayed with someone once. And no, actually, he stayed with a girl that was in a car accident on a rainy day on a freeway. He told the story at least. And this was before he was in Scientology, but this is not when he was super Scientologist Tom Cruise. He stayed with the girl until the ambulance got there, made sure she got in the ambulance, asked the paramedics which hospital she was going to. She was taken to the hospital. He sent flowers the next day and checked up on her.
Did he ask them if they needed a trained Scientologist to show them what to do on the way to the hospital?
Because
no, you're right. But we used to hear all that stories. Like he helped rescue someone that was like stranded at sea and shit.
Yeah.
And we used to hear those stories. I do wonder how many of those stories were well, I know they weren't planted. Like I know the stories weren't just totally false. So I guess I don't know what I'm saying.
No, I get what you're saying. So you wonder, are they true? Was he really like that at some point and then became the uber Scientologist? So let's say he ran into that same girl on the side of the freeway. It's raining. She has an accident. It's pouring. He gets there and he starts feeling her up to give her a touch assist. And she dies of blood loss on the side of the scene because only a Scientologist knows what to do and can handle it. No. At that time, apparently he did call 911 because that was the correct thing to do. I don't know what he would do nowadays.
Yeah.
That's the next video I'm doing. The one where he says only we can help. I'm like, what are
only a Scientologist can really help?
Like what? You're going to give her a locational when her legs 20 feet down the road from her? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do I've never done a comparison video to Tom Cruise video and Jerry O'Connell's amazing parody of the Tom Cruise video. That would be good.
I'm going to do it. I've got it high up on my list.
That'd be good. I mean, it was Mike Brown's little what does he call it? What is it when a person goes to a Renaissance fair or LARPing?
LARPing.
Yeah, his LARPing video is what inspired me. I saw LARPing video. I was like, wait a second, he just cut little clips. I'm like, wait, that could be a good idea. Anyways, that's what got me going on the Tom. Hey, look he deserves it as much as Dave at this point, and that's why I'm going to continue going on that.
Yeah,
for sure.
What do you think about? And I don't know who this quote is attributed to. It's either to Dave or Tom, but I don't remember who the anecdote came from. Of them being like, Dave and Tom are the two big beings on this planet who are steering the direction of Earth. And again, I might even be overemphasizing the actual quote itself. But had you ever heard Dave say anything like that?
I hadn't. I heard it after, and I thought that was Tommy Davis telling Nazanin Wanyati that.
Oh.
That's where I thought that came from.
Oh.
Yeah. But I could be wrong. But that's where I thought that came from. I thought that when he was walking her out, when Tom Cruise dumped her without... Oh, there's another thing. Who does that? But anyways, dumped her without saying a word to her and let her go scrub toilets with a toothbrush. I think he said that to her just to make sure she understood and realized what she had done wrong and whatever else he wanted to make her realize. There's a guy that needs to be punched, by the way, Tommy Davis.
Yeah. When L. Ron Hubbard would casually make mention of beings arrived late here on Earth, did you ever wonder, well, wait, where are they arriving from?
Yes and no. I always hoped that the 5th Invader Force was coming and that they would pick me up and I could help out with their mission so I could fly in the saucers. Hey guys, I was a bit of I dug the alien part of Scientology, not the confidential stuff. L. Ron Hubbard spoke tons about aliens before OT3, but just not the Xenu story. He just spoke about invader forces coming to Earth and that it was a prison planet. I dug that shit. I thought that stuff was so cool.
I'm so glad you mentioned the prison planet. I was talking to someone last night who has been out of Scientology for a while and just had the craziest interaction with the Scientologist who's sort of on this interaction and the story they were telling me painted such a picture of how much insanity exists in Scientology that we've got so much time and distance from that it's hard to sometimes truly recall how crazy some of these people were, right?
Right.
And this person said to me, can you imagine in this present day, how many crazy ways a Scientologist has to justify to themselves why it's all okay? And I said, when I was in, I didn't need 1,000 different justifications for 1,000 different crazy things. I just needed one good justification to explain all of it away. And I said, and for me, it was the prison planet. I said, when the prison planet part of Scientology's like mythology, yeah. I said, whenever I didn't know, why am I putting up with this shit? Why am I working this hard? Why am I not, living my best life, doing what I want to do? Why am I go, oh, wait, I forgot prison planet. That's the reason. That's the reason I can't go to the beach this weekend. That's the reason we're not getting a Christmas. That's the reason no one's getting paid. That's the reason beans and rice, prison planet. Just up. I just needed to be reminded. I'm good. Right. All right, let's get on with the show. Prison planet, guys.
We got this. And it's so true because at the same time as a prison planet, they make sure that you're very aware of all the stuff that's happening bad all around the world that kind of indicates it may be a prison planet, that religion is creating all these wars all around the world between different religious groups and genocide and all that stuff. And that fits kind of right into the concept that there's a prison planet and we must be doing whatever we can to fix it now. Again, we're the last hope. I mean, like we're the Jedi Order of this planet when you're in the Sea Org, essentially. It's for sure. It's absolutely along those lines. We're fighting the Empire and we're the last hope, and Princess Leia is asking us for help, essentially. That's
right. Scientology is Star Wars plus the Matrix.
Yes, exactly. So true. Well, but I got gypped because there's no moving shit with your mind, and I always hope for that. And I know my Yeti brother, after he left, he apparently used to sit in the bathtub for 3 hours and try to move shampoo bottles at the edge of the thing.
What was he trying to move them with exactly?
His mind. I'm just going to say that.
Was he with John at the time or not?
No.
Was John involved in any way? No. Okay. I was just making sure.
No. Oh, did you know that my brother Justin, by the way, was an extra for like 4 or 5 years after he left Scientology?
What year? From what year to what year? Oh, starting what year?
Oh, it had to be, I think he left in 2000. So for like 2000 to maybe 2006.
In LA?
Yes. Yeah. He was on the Friends set. He met Chandler Bing. He had a conversation with Jennifer Aniston. He met Kevin Spacey, and that's a whole story there.
We just missed each other. Was he with Central Casting?
I don't know who he's with. I have to ask him, but you can actually see him on an episode of Friends. I just forget which one. If you look closely, he's in the background of the coffee shop.
You can see me in an episode of Mad About You.
Really?
With Mel Brooks.
Okay.
You can see me in the opening scene of Aaron Brockovich.
What?
You can see me as a featured thing in an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. You can see me in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You can see me several times in The General's Daughter with John Travolta.
Now,
yes,
I agree with that. But Aaron, it's so funny. When you first posted a picture of you, younger you, compared to what you look like now, I think you're unrecognizable.
I am unrecognizable. Everyone would say the only reason I don't put the picture up is because people are going to go, "What happened?"
Well, I don't think it's I don't think you're pulling off the Mr. Clean look. I mean, I couldn't. I was like, I'm trying to go, wait, do I even recognize? No, like how? It's crazy how much different. Yes. I kind of look the same to some degree for whatever reason.
18-year-old Aaron looks nothing like 43-year-old Aaron.
Nothing like. It's so funny to see. Now, that being said, Justin had a trick. I don't know if you ever did this. So if he was going to be an extra on a set all day, and he wanted to be paid, but he didn't really care about being background walking or something like that. He would wear clothes similar to the crew and just stand around pretending like he was crew the whole day.
Only a Sea Org member could come up with that one.
Oh, my brother Justin was smooth, man. He's hilarious. I can't wait to get him on here. I think he's getting closer and closer. Again, he's the funny one, guys. I'm not that funny. He's hilarious. And he does watch all this, and he's a big fan of yours, Aaron. But I can't wait to see him get on here. He's got some stories about when he left. He's definitely got some stories. And even his stories about being at Gold and the things he did there are just hilarious. You know, having affairs on heavy equipment. You know,
you know what I want to ask him. I became, because the first production I ever worked on was The General's Daughter. And because, well, they call it being Taft-Hartley, where you're not a union member, but you work as a union member. I was eligible after my first job to join SAG. I'm a SAG member.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I think he was too. Yeah.
And I've been like inactive for like 25 years, but I still have that damn card in my wallet.
You just pull it out every once in a while. Hey, how you doing?
But you know, see, I wouldn't have tried to pull that little stunt because I was perfectly happy and willing to be doing the job. I wanted to be, on set with everyone, not just hiding or whatever. Yeah. It's a blast working on sets. It's really cool. I never had the balls to take any acting classes or try to audition for anything, but you know, in my mind, I was like, oh yes, being an actor is what I tell myself I want to do, but it's quite a humiliating process. Like, I mean, the whole auditioning, acting classes. There's this one Netflix show. The Kaminsky Method.
Yes. So good.
Even watching that show gives me secondhand embarrassment for the people who are going through, you know, the whole acting class process. It's a humiliating thing to have to do.
Very much so. I mean, you get rejected far more than you get praise or acceptance. That is tough. I don't care how tough you are as an individual. I mean, you get rejected so much. Can you imagine that? And what's worse, I would say, is, well, I think Leah talks about that, right? She had tried out for Friends, didn't get the part, but lost out. I think she was like second choice, lost out to maybe Courtney Cox or something like that. And then you see that show just go in the stratosphere. Can you imagine that feeling, knowing that you were that close? I mean, it's like being a professional quarterback, and you last second you throw the ball to the end zone, and it gets tipped up 5 times, and your receiver drops it on his fingertips, and the ball hits the ground, and that's how far you were from winning a Super Bowl ring, right? It's like that's gonna live with you for a long time. That's gotta hurt, actually. But anyways. Yeah. So no,
but also knowing how hard the industry is.
Yeah.
Is, again, just to sort of circle back to what we were talking about, makes me go, if I'm Tom Cruise, aren't I at least trying to help my fellow Scientologists in the industry? And you just don't see it at all.
Right.
You know? And it's funny because you also don't see David Miscavige also trying to help anybody become better in Scientology. All he is about crushing people and making people smaller and blaming people. Like, they seem to have that trait in common.
Right. Yeah, they do. I think they do. Now, that being said, there was an article recently. Tom Cruise apparently called up Timothy Chalamet, who's a great actor, by the way. He's fantastic in Dune. And said, hey, here's my list of stunt people and people to train for fighting and all this sort of stuff. He gave him a list of all these people he uses. But it's funny, you think about that, and there's no way my mind can go, oh, look, Tom Cruise is trying to help. No, it's Tom Cruise is trying to recruit him into Scientology. That's the only thought that I can get from that. There's because you just don't think of Tom Cruise as a person that's going to be generous like that, because he hasn't been, or at least we haven't seen it. And you think, oh, that guy's just trying to start the ball rolling on the Scientology conversation. Which, it's funny that if that is the case and he's still trying, God, how is that possible? There's too much stuff out on the internet. There's too many films and TV shows covering Scientology. No one's going into Scientology now. There's just no way someone's going to go, I'm going to do that. Even from the perspective of just how bad it would look to be part of Scientology when you're in Hollywood. So,
you mentioned, Tom not being known for being generous. And it's funny because you'll hear this other story of him basically sending pretty much everyone he's ever, shared a call sheet with a Christmas coconut cake or something.
Yeah.
And you go, yeah, but that's so forced. That's so artificial. And if you're sending it to everyone, then that means none of them are actually special, So why are you actually doing it? It's
Right.
like, it's branding.
Yeah. It is.
Anyway, it's kind of like Dave is so horrible to people, but you can still whip together a small little group of senior SEAL members to say how he's the greatest friend you could ever have. He's just a guy who enjoys a good taco. And he saw me crying one time. Sure, it was after he was screaming at me, but he asked me if I was okay. And that stuck with me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've got to do my video series on that, Aaron. I am going to do something on that. I'm going to do my own POW videos where I talk about how wonderful a human being Dave Miscavige is.
You know what we could do, Sterling? We could do reaction videos together to all those videos on davidmiscavige.com.
Oh, please. Let's do that. Oh my God. Yes.
Maybe that's something me, you, and Reese could do together. We could give that a shot or something.
Absolutely, dude. That would be so much fun. I want to do reaction videos to something.
Yeah.
I want to do reaction videos to something. And that would be fun. I've never done a reaction video, so I would love to do that.
Wait, who did I do that with? Did I do one with Mitch? I think maybe Mitch and I, we watched Molly Hertling's video.
Yes. That's what gave me the idea.
Right. I thought it was with Reese, but that was with Mitch.
Yeah. He stopped at a taco truck on the way back and, was,
that's right. That's what it was. What it was.
I stopped by 7-Eleven and I got her a bottle of water. I mean, she should be praising me for what are you talking about? I knew her too. I was in CMO Pack with her when I was a little kid.
She was the CMO Pack the whole time I was there.
Was she? Yeah, I didn't know her then. I knew her. I think she was Supercargo when I was just a wee.
And do you know what? Always, it's the funniest things that stick in my mind, because also you realize these things stick in my mind because of how I was raised in Scientology. Molly was quite overweight, and she had braces, and I thought to myself, how did Miscavige let her be CMO? When we know how fixated Miscavige is on image. No one can work for RTC unless they're hot.
Right.
And I was like, how did this happen? Anyway, I'm only mentioning it because I even knew at that time what David Miscavige would allow around him.
Right.
And I'd never even worked directly with the guy.
It's interesting. I don't know at that particular point, which must have been the early 2000s you're talking about. I don't know I could be wrong. I don't know how aware he was of all the postings in every sector necessarily. But that being said, as we know, it's on a whim. He could have walked and met her one day. She said one wrong thing. She's off post. Apparently she said a couple right things. And then he kind of slowly let her into the circle. And now she gets tacos from a taco truck. No, he didn't even bring them tacos, did he? He just suggested the place.
I don't remember. Mitch had a whole story about how Miscavige basically took credit for discovering this taco truck, and it was a big deal, and he would send people to get the taco. So like meaning there was a whole story surrounding the taco truck. I don't remember the details of that particular incident. You want to tackle some of these super chats, and then we'll wrap this one up?
Let's nail it.
All right, let's see. Rachel, XOXO UK, do you think Tom Cruise should be held accountable criminally for helping cover up the crimes of Scientology?
No, I don't think so. I think he should just, by association, once they nail David Miscavige, then he should be embarrassed publicly.
Yeah, I agree. We don't know that Tom Cruise has been, when we say crimes, when I talk about crimes of Scientology these days, I'm not talking about mistreating the SEARC members. I'm talking about credit card theft, wire fraud, identity theft, bank fraud, RICO shit. I'm guessing Rachel's referring to the kind of crimes of like sending people to the hole, covering up child abuse, and Tom is just not involved in that sort of inside business of Scientology. Do you agree with that? I
agree, and we've debated, Aaron, on this about how much Osa tells Dave. I don't, even though he likes to have his fingers in every pie, I don't know that they really give him every detail because, there's a very kill the messenger vibe in Scientology and the Sea Org. So you don't want to be the person always giving him that news. So I don't know how much detail. Of course, the Danny Masterson thing, yes, he knew about that. He was aware of that. We know that because things were directed specifically at him. But after that, yeah, we can only speculate on how much detail he gets on every particular item. So
yeah, Okay, Susan Cook, thank you very much. Janine Long, Tom is about power, and his bromance with Little Davy is about comparing each other's egos and whose is the biggest. They are both bullies, and of. John appears more naive. That's
Mm,
it. That's an interesting word to use because I think you could make an argument that John is willfully ignorant of certain things. Is that the same thing as naive? No.
no,
Naive is you don't even know what you don't know, really.
right.
I
I think
think
he's a
John is
hear no
very
evil.
aware. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
hear no evil, see no evil type person. I don't think he likes that sort of information. I don't think he likes that drama, and he tends to not even let it get into his space more than he's just naive to it. I think John. Okay, all speculation. If I were a betting person again, which I'm not, but if I were, I would say John dislikes Dave Miscavige. He doesn't like his personality. He doesn't like how brutal he is. He doesn't like how direct he is because that's not how John is. And
I
so,
totally agree with you. And I think that's also reflected in his close friend, Priscilla and Lisa Marie,
yes,
who hated David Miscavige.
which makes me so happy. I wish I could have met Lisa Marie once before she passed. I wish I could have. I always wanted to, but you know.
Yeah. Okay, Faye Senkbeil. Off topic, but Reese's peanut butter is real and available, not promoting weight gain for anyone. I said if I could get a jar of peanut butter that was filled with nothing but the inside of a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Yeah.
And Faye is saying that they have that.
Yeah.
Wow, that is scary.
And I forgot, by the way, I didn't get to check mark another pro for you, which is your love of the candy Nerds. And I don't understand Reese's aversion to Nerds, but Nerds were the best. You could take that thing, rip open, you know, had the little slot in the front, you had to pull it open, and then you just
on the bigger
dump half
boxes.
the box.
On the bigger boxes, yeah, I forgot. I've only seen small boxes for
half
years
the box
and years.
in your mouth at once, and just let that settle in, and just turn the color of your mouth, whatever color the Nerds were. There was nothing better. Nerds were awesome.
Nerds. Tara, how many celebrities have left? Did Isaac Hayes leave? I don't know that Isaac Hayes left before he died.
I don't think he did.
Yeah. It's hard to quantify how many have left, Tara, but you'll hear us mention it in videos from time to time for sure. Efods, thank you very much. Micah, thank you very much. Fallon, when Elizabeth Moss left the award ceremony to use the restroom, did John Travolta leave too? I remember him being asked about Mike and Leah's show, and he said he wasn't interested. I doubt John Travolta showed up to the Emmy Awards that year.
Yeah, he wouldn't have. There was nothing he did on TV.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, Abigail, Aaron, you've mentioned before that you were on Power Rangers. I love that show when I was a kid. Which series and episode? So I don't remember the year. So I was only in LA from like 1998 to 2000. And all I know, it was the episode where it was in a roller skating rink. And we basically rollerbladed around that rink for so many hours that my big toe went numb for about 3 months before the nerves grew back.
Was that the Moonlight Rollerway in Burbank?
I honestly don't. I don't even remember where. I don't remember where. Okay. MOS6510 models. Aaron, when will you do a live with Mike, Mark, and Claire? The chemistry between you guys is funny. We actually have a live coming up this Saturday. We're going to be doing a live stream together. It should be me, Mark, Claire, Mike, Christy, Matt, and Amy all doing one together on Saturday. As I think we said we were going to do an Aftermath Foundation live fundraiser in honor of the anniversary of the IAS. If Scientology is going to be raising money, we'll raise money alongside them. All right, let's see. Lisa Gillespie says, it's a shame. Used to really enjoy Tom Cruise films. Now he just makes me angry and nauseous. I only see Scientology Tom Cruise now. Yeah, that's how I feel too. I couldn't even enjoy the latest Top Gun. And I wanted to, because look, Top Gun was one of my favorite movies too.
Right.
I wanted to be a fighter pilot as well. I was told I couldn't be because I didn't have perfect vision. These days, all you need is 20/20 corrected vision. Back then, you couldn't have glasses or contacts back then.
Interesting. I look at it. Didn't matter if Tom Cruise was in the new Top Gun. Just the way they shot the jets and everything like that was just. In fact, parts of what Tom Cruise in the movie I didn't even like. I thought the football scene on the beach was stupid. Like that was so dumb.
I just thought you had 30 years to do this movie, and you basically did a shot-for-shot remake in many ways.
Right,
Come
right.
on, guys.
But still, that did not negate how cool the jet footage was, and that's where I got excited because
It's
obviously
true.
it looked awesome. Yeah.
A lot of people are under the false impression that they actually let Tom Cruise fly those jets, and that is absolutely not true.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
You will not let a civilian into a military jet. There's too much stuff, hardware in there that they, even when they sell those jets to other countries, they strip those things down, guys. They don't give away our technology for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have, Cedar Duvall. I had my Sweet 16 at Moonlight Roller Rink.
I just had to bring that up. That's a place where I used to go all the time when I was a kid for fun. It was a great roller rink. So,
Did you prefer the roller skates or the roller blades?
I don't think when I was a kid, I don't think we had blades at the time. So I was doing it in the mid 80s. The blades came out, I think, a little bit later in the 80s. And I was at the Int Ranch by that time. I had roller blades at the Int Ranch because we used to play roller hockey in the parking lot.
That's where I was going. First of all, I was going to be like, what do you mean when I was a kid? You're older than me. But, but I was playing roller hockey. We play street hockey in Malvern, PA. And actually on the street. That's like that. Like, you don't see that anymore.
Yeah.
Like what is it? Game off, get a move. Okay, car coming.
Yeah.
Maybe 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. So that's 9, 10, and 11. How old were you when you went up to the ranch?
I was, I think, 11 or 12.
Okay. All right. Similar. Because you're only a few years older than me, 2 or 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
I
used to roller skate all around LA. When I wanted to go somewhere, I would just roller skate there. Yeah.
Did you wear knee pads?
No, dude. I was one of those guys. If I'm going to get hit by something or I'm going to fall, I'm going to own it and wear it with pride.
Yeah, we were really good at roller hockey. Like, it was awesome.
Love roller hockey. So much fun. There's actually a roller hockey rink right next to my place here, and I got to go check it out sometime. Looks pretty right? Fun. I think I've got enough sports on my calendar, but nonetheless, it could be fun.
How fun would that be to have like an indoor, what do they call not a studio, a warehouse, an indoor warehouse with polished concrete floors, or maybe a little bit of texture so the blades aren't slipping everywhere.
Yeah,
and air conditioning, nice 70 degrees, and oh my God, that would be a lot of fun. And
then we could get the whole SPTV network in there to play like a sports day. And then it would be you and I against everyone else, and we would destroy them. I don't know that there's a whole lot of athletes on here.
Oh, shots fired.
Oh, shot is fired. No, that was mostly at Mark. No. I don't ever remember Mark playing sports on SOD. I tried to think about it the other day.
Mark can just be goalie. Mark can just be goalie. We'll strap him up with some pads. We won't even give him skates. We'll just give him sneakers.
I'm sorry. Mark was a soccer player. Mark was actually a very good football player. I take that
Headley?
back. Yes, Headley, yes.
Soccer or football?
Football.
Football.
European football.
Yeah.
European, South American football. Yeah.
Well, I still nominate Mark as goalie.
Yeah, no, he would kick ass. No, he was actually good at that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Brian Ellicott, Queer Justice Tarot. Wow. Times 2. I can never remember if that's an L or an I, but LOPNC. I'm guessing. Very jealous that Aaron was in Buffy. Not only was I in Buffy, I had a little fight scene with technically the fight scene was with her stunt double, but the scene starts out with me actually breaking out of my grave and grabbing her leg. Was it Sarah Michelle Gellar? Was Sarah Michelle Gellar? Was it? I can't remember if she was in the movie. She was in the TV show, not the movie. Yeah. So grabbing her leg, and then the scene cuts, and it's her stunt double, and we have a little zombie fight. I'm in full zombie makeup. You have no idea it's me. But I'll show you that photo too if you haven't seen that. Okay, Brian, I made the mistake of walking into the Big Blue Building in 2010 on an LA trip. I thought it was something that you do. I was a dumb, homeless, queer kid. That probably just got me demonetized. That's hate speech coming from me. Can you talk more about the anti-LGBT Scientology view? I don't want to go into the whole subject just at the Q&A section here. I've done a lot of videos about it, but I mean, it's as simple as this. In the book, Science of Survival, L. Ron Hubbard says that 1.1 on the tone scale is called covert hostility. And it is the most dangerous band of the tone scale. And basically any perverts, pedophiles, and gay people are in that band. And that pretty much sums it up. Thank you for that, Brian. So LOPNC1, can we write to Scientology to get registered as SPs? You know, by publicly commenting on any of the SPTV channels, you are automatically an honorary SP. I feel like someone in their merch store should figure out how to offer customized SP declares. I haven't looked into what it would take or how to do it. Maybe there's a way to do some standardized one where it doesn't have to be customized, but if there was some framed custom SP declares, that would be really, really funny.
That'd be super awesome. There was a great question there about serve speed from SP Tattoo Warrior.
Serve speed?
Yeah, because we were talking about being.
I'll get to that when I see it there. I see it.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I'm a unicorn says, love y'all together. Didn't Priscilla Presley's alleged con man baby daddy produce the first Power Rangers movie in 1995? I haven't heard anything about that. I don't know. I'm a unicorn. If you have a link about that, send it to me at growingupinscientology@gmail.com. Rebecca Salmon, they 100% would never let Tom Cruise anywhere near an experimental military jet. He would definitely be considered a security risk.
Yep.
Yeah.
So true.
And Barb, SPTV Tattoo Warrior. So one of you can serve a tennis ball 110 miles per hour? Well, they must be talking about you because I never served less than 130.
And I sent you a photo. I don't know if I can bring it up. Let me see if I can pop it up on my I can present, right?
You should be able to.
Do I just hit present and then find the file? Yes. Slides.
We're live, so make sure you click the right thing.
I know, right? No, I sent it to you. You want to pull it up real fast? Sorry.
You sent it to me where, though?
I texted it to you.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't want to pull up something I shouldn't pull up. And this was a humbling experience for me, SP Tattoo Warrior, because I really was sure that I could hit the ball a little harder. I was at the tennis tournament in Palm Springs last year, Indian Wells, and they had a machine. Now, by the way, I have to say that there was a 12-year-old kid that went ahead of me, and he was also at the same speed. So I think there was something wrong with the machine, or at least my brain said that. But if it takes too long, don't worry about it, Aaron.
No, I'm gonna expand it here, and I'm basically cheating. Hold on, give me a sec. I'm almost there. Please be the right screen. Hold on, let me close some shit. All right. Okay, here we go. What do we have here?
That would be the speed of my fastest first serve I could do without warming up. 83 miles per hour. I mean, that's pretty embarrassing, I know, but hey, I'm being honest here, guys.
Wow, that was very, very humbling. What did you do for the rest of the day? Cry into your pillow?
Oh, I drank my sorrows away. They have great mixed drinks at Indian Wells, and I have a friend that arranges a suite for everybody. So yeah, I got the rest of it out of my system.
Renee Unrein.
I saw that.
Change the subject, but today I saw a Grant Cardone in a training video that we watched for our company. So interesting. I mean, I know Grant Cardone does car sales training. Other than that, he does motivational speaking, but I'm wondering what targeted industries are just watching Grant Cardone videos. Yeah. Forward looking says blame the warm balls.
Yep.
That's what I always do.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, let me just remind everyone, if you're not yet subscribed to Sterling Tompkins, jump over there and find him on YouTube at Sterling Tompkins. Oh, hey, we're going to do a trivia thing tonight with Reese, aren't we?
I think so. That's 7:30 your to 4:30 my time. Is that right?
Yeah, let's do it in 5 hours. Hot dog. We're going to have fun.
She had SP Tattoo Warrior. What was the speed of your fastest serve that you won the contest with?
Yep, that's important information. And Barb, you're gonna have to tune in next time to tell us.
Yeah, no, for sure. We're doing this after. Are we? You know what? We'll just play it by ear when we get there. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're gonna talk to y'all soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe.